We select projects all over the world. We do a lot of due diligence on them. We have a partner here that knows the kind of high quality, well-governed projects. And what we love about it is we get to choose a few different types of projects because there's a lot of different ways you can avoid and remove carbon from the world. And I'll give you 3 examples, that you have funded in your most recent offsetting. One is probably the easiest to understand would be renewable energy. So we have a project in India where you are funding the not only the building but the running of a wind farm in India, which without that funding would not be able to exist, right? It's not government funded, so it needs external capital from the likes of Valiant to make that possible. Right. So by having that wind power, you're avoiding coal plants or other fossil fuel type electricity. Amazing. The second are community projects, and I love these ones because not only do they have a carbon benefit, but they're actually helping the communities in which the money is going. So there's one in Nepal where a lot of these Nepalese communities, particularly the females, are having to make food for their families, and in order to do that, they cut down wood, burn the wood to create a fire.
Cook their food.
Right?
Yeah.
Very standard, very normal in those kind of communities, and unfortunately has quite a big carbon impact. Now they can't afford to buy a solar oven, or a ceramic, much more efficient cook stove.
Right.
So these projects, your investment in this project actually replaces their very old school wood burn fire with these solar powered cook stoves, which then have no carbon emissions. They have way less issue with lung problems because you're not inhaling all of the smoke. Exactly. And they last for 7 years. So these communities have a really robust way of providing food for their families.
Great, and we've avoided the cutting down of trees in order to burn,
Correct.
to cook. So the carbon that's captured in those trees stays
Correct,
captured.
exactly. Really beautiful project. So it's it's not always the really obvious projects that have a carbon benefit. There's often like a lot of co-benefits, which I love. And then the final type of projects that have a nature-based solution. People know that trees sequester carbon, which is great. So we need to protect our forests, right? We have a lot of problem in Indonesia with palm oil.
Palm oil being used mostly for food products, for things like chocolate.
Correct. So these palm forests are being logged at scale, and that's obviously reducing the number of trees that are sequestering carbon.
Right.
Now these projects are basically protecting land in Indonesia. So by funding the project owner, you're saying you cannot cut down these trees. We must preserve them. Let's look after the biodiversity within that forest. So you've got the benefit of maintaining these healthy trees and also promoting the biodiversity of those of the ecosystem.
The regions.
Yeah.
And as I understand it, since July 1st of 2022, when our partnership officially kicked off,
Yes.
can't believe that's been almost 2 years now, or over 2 years, we've planted close to 8,000 trees.
Amazing.
With the help of Trace and your partners. Whereabouts are those trees being planted and how? Are they via community groups or organizations?
We partner with a beautiful organisation called Eden Reforestation. They're global. They actually run projects all over the world, most of them Madagascar and Asia.
Yeah.
And a lot of them are mangroves. And the reason for mangroves is they are planted in the waterworks of rivers and streams, and they are very efficient at carbon sequestration. They go from being a little seedling to a flourishing tree very quickly. They have a long lifespan, so they're very effective at carbon sequestration. So those are the
That is
trees
so
you're planting.
interesting. I really had no idea. When I thought about carbon capture initiatives by way of tree planting, I always assumed there were just those big oak forests that would need to take a good 100 years to really make an impact.
That's the problem. Yeah, I mean, those are great, but they take hundreds of years.
Yeah.
And mangroves are very quick to grow.